in this one. We're back to the East versus West. Lillard and Halliburton. Gilgeous-Alexander defending him. It has been quite the path.
The All-Star game, and they play in that whole city. Are you kidding me?
On February 18th, 2024, the NBA All-Star Game quietly crossed a line it had never crossed before. Not because of who played, but because of how they played. The final score was 211 to 186. Players weren't exhausted, nobody was frustrated, nobody even looked like they had been in a real game. They smiled, they joked, and when it ended, it felt like nothing had actually happened. For years, something had been missing from the NBA's greatest stage. The sense of real competition had been fading, and in that moment, the league faced a question it had been avoiding for years. Had the NBA All-Star Game become completely meaningless? For the last 20 years, the NBA All-Star Game has been a living monument to half-assery. Basketball Hall of Famer Tracy McGrady didn't mince words when he said last year's game wasn't an All-Star Game. I don't know what that was. But in 2026, the league finally stopped the bleeding. Sunday's showcase at the Intuit Dome suggests that even the league's most blatant flaws are fixable. The preliminary data is staggering. An average of 8.8 million viewers across NBC, Peacock, and Telemundo. That is nearly double the turnout for the 2025 scrimmage, and the biggest TV audience the game has seen since 2011. But this wasn't just a lucky break or a new arena smell. It was a calculated pivot to global respect and a desperate dive into 1970s television history to find the one thing the NBA had lost: the tenor. To understand the why behind the fix, you have to understand the when. The NBA occupies a massive geographical advantage it has been squandering. Americans watch 20% more television in January and February than at any other time of the year. Despite linear TV consumption plummeting 48% since 2015, the first 2 months of the year remain the most effective window to reach a mass audience. This is exactly why the NBA's apathy was so dangerous. But there's a deeper psychological layer to the 2026 revival: the death of American basketball imperialism. Since 2018, every single NBA MVP has been an international player. James Harden was the last American player to take the trophy. During the 2024 Paris Olympics, it took Herculean efforts from aging legends like LeBron James and Stephen Curry just to hold off France. The gap isn't just closing. In many ways, it's closed. The NBA leveraged that insecurity by ditching the East versus West format for a USA versus World 3-team tournament. It gave the players something they hadn't felt in decades: a reason to be insulted. But format changes are usually just window dressing. The NBA has tried playground drafts and captain-led teams, and they all failed because the effort wasn't there. To fix that, the league had to look back at how they got beat in the mid-1970s. When CBS took the NBA's rights away from ABC, an executive named Dick Button filled the Sunday hole with a show called The Superstars, and it was a smash hit because it was raw. In one famous installment, heavyweight champion Smokin' Joe Frazier doggy-paddled to a last-place finish in a 50-meter swim. He did it anyway because he refused to lose. ABC's follow-up, Battle of the Network Stars, pulled a 28.8 rating. As legendary producer Don Ohlmeyer noted, it was the Gabe Kaplan, Robert Conrad foot race that made people tune in. It proved the participants really cared whether they won or lost. That is the meat of what happened at the Intuit Dome. The tournament was a round robin. You had the young guns, the USA Stars, the veterans, the USA Stripes, and Team World. Victor Wembanyama, representing the world, set the tone by scoring 7 points in the first 90 seconds. Anthony Edwards, the eventual MVP, admitted as such. We saw 25 steals and 16 blocks, a massive leap from the pathetic 14 steals and 3 blocks we saw in 2024. The individual performances were staggering. Kawhi Leonard, playing in his own backyard as an injury replacement, scored 31 points in just 12 minutes during Game 3. That's a higher scoring output in 12 minutes than any player recorded in a single quarter during the entire 2025-26 regular season. The game featured the Elam ending in overtime, a race to 5 points, where Scotty Barnes buried a walk-off three after Jalen Duren unselfishly kicked it out from the post. However, the weekend was far from a perfect success. The Saturday festivities were an accessibility disaster. Because NBC also had the Winter Olympics, All-Star Saturday had to start at 2 p.m. local time. In Los Angeles, that meant the stands were virtually empty for the three-point contest because fans were stuck in traffic or, frankly, at the beach. Even when the stands filled for the dunk contest, the capacity was capped at just 15,000. Then there's the pricing. Fans were standing outside the Intuit Dome looking for tickets, only to find the worst seats on the resale market were $900. Finally, the format itself is teetering on being too smart for its own good. The roster construction was a mess of nationality-based replacements. When Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was injured, the league had to pick Alperen Sengun because they needed an international player to fit the world slot, even if an American player like Derek White was more deserving. They even moved Norman Powell from Team USA to Team World based on ties to Jamaica. The tournament tiebreakers were so confusing that the PA announcer had to explain to the crowd that Team World needed to win by exactly 3 points to advance. The 2026 All-Star Game was a victory for the NBA because it proved that competition is the only thing that actually drives brand recall. You can have John Tesh play Round Ball Rock and have Sarah McLachlan sing the anthem all you want, but if the players don't give a damn, the fans won't either. Adam Silver saved the game by tapping into the global respect gap and letting Wemby and Edwards turn an exhibition into a Hunger Games scenario. But for this to become a sustainable success, the league needs to simplify. Sunday was a step up in the competitive department, but the NBA is still one boring, overpriced Saturday afternoon away from losing the fans again. For the deep dives the mainstream media misses, make sure to follow Essentially Sports.